Hi everyone, my name is Sudham Reddy Duba, having an experience in this containment technology from past 7 years. Most of the organizations in IT industry have been adopted to this particular DevOps culture in their software development cycle. As part of that, let's understand DevOps for containerized platforms. Let us discuss few points about DevOps SDLC process. Now let us understand what is DevOps. DevOps is not a tool. It ensures to use a common tools to collaborate your developers and operations team together in SDLC process to deliver the product much faster and efficient manner. I want my development team and operations team to use a common tool so that I can deliver the product much faster and efficient manner. To do this particular task, DevOps culture has been adopted by many of the organizations. Now let's understand few working principles of DevOps SDLC process. First, we have to talk about plan. In this, we have to take care of cost benefit analysis, resource estimation, and allocation so that all your stakeholders will be sitting together like your customers, experts, your internal or external experts, and the managers as well to document all these particular things. Once this particular task was done, then we have to move into design. In this particular stage, all the software engineers will be identifying the best solution to create a software. After this was done, next we'll take care of development of the code. With the tools what we have identified, now we will start developing the code for our software. Now in this particular stage, we will be testing the code. That is like static code analysis to identify the bugs, to identify the code smells, and many more. Once the testing has been passed, now we have to release the code. Release is nothing but, first you will be testing this particular code on a development environment or a staging environment or a pre-production environment. Before going into the production level, first we have to test the code on the other environments. After that, we have to deploy the code on the production environment. Once the deployment was done, we have to take care of monitoring by using Nagios or any other tool. We have to monitor all the services and applications running on the cluster. And then finally, we have to review. In this particular stage, your clients, in this particular review stage, we have to identify the gaps that we have not addressed, and based on that, we have to take a decision for the next release cycle. Now, this is a continuous process where we have to deliver the software. Now we have to adopt this particular culture in our containerized platform as a DevOps engineer. As part of that, let us discuss about DevOps workflow for containerized platforms. As a developer, you have to develop the code. In this particular process, you will be writing the code. Not only that, additionally, we have to build the Docker file as well. In this particular course, we'll be talking about that particular topic, how to write a Docker file to customize your images. After this was done, then we have to store the code in the repository. Every developer in this particular team has to write the code, and they should not store in the local machine. They have to push the code in the centralized repository like GitHub or GitLab, Bitbucket, and many more. Now, once the code has been stored here, now we have to build the container image by using Docker or any other tool. Building the image in the sense, we have to build the image in such a way that we can run our application as a container. That particular process is called as build. You have to convert your Docker file into image. Now that particular task is called as build by using Docker or any other third-party tool. It's up to you. Once the image build was done, now we have to store this particular image in a registry. Most widely used tool is nothing but Docker Hub. In a Docker Hub, we can store our images, which is called as repository, and the Docker Hub is called as registry. Now in this particular registry, we have to store our images. It could be Docker Hub, it could be Azure Container Registry, or AWS Container Registry, and many more. After the image was pushed into the registry, now we have to pull the image. For that, we used to run the command called Docker pull image. Pull image in the sense, here it is Nginx. Nginx is a repository. From this particular registry, we have to download the image. That is called as pull image. Once this activity was done, Now we have to deploy the container on any one of the platform. It could be a Docker or it could be a Kubernetes. Now this is the generic workflow what we follow in order to develop the code and to deploy the code in a containerized platform by using any one of the CI/CD tools like Jenkins, GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps, AWS Code Pipeline, and many more. Now these are the things what we are going to learn in this particular course as part of K8 Engineers. In order to implement this particular DevOps workflow in our containerization platform, let us see what are the tools that we have to learn. DevOps tools for containerized platforms. First one is Docker. Docker is a tool where we can run our applications as a containers in a standalone. If you want to run your containers as a high availability on a cluster, then we have to learn about Kubernetes. Not only that, if you want to deploy your applications on Kubernetes cluster or any other platform, it could be on-premises or cloud, then we have to use a tool called Helm charts, which is a package manager for Kubernetes. Not only that, if you want to deploy your applications in much efficient manner, we have another tool called that is customize.io. Most of the companies are using Helm charts to deploy their applications on the Kubernetes cluster. After this, we have to learn about CI/CD tools, Jenkins, and then we have GitHub Actions. Now, these are the most widely used tools like Jenkins and GitHub Actions to deploy your applications on the Kubernetes cluster. And then finally, we have to monitor our applications on the Kubernetes cluster by using Prometheus or EFK. We can use any one of these tools. EFK is for logging and Prometheus is for metrics calculation. Now we have to use this particular tools for monitoring and logging purpose. K8 Engineers team has created this particular course in such a way that if you scroll down a bit, we have different tiles for different roles. Let's say we are working as a DevOps engineer. Now, what are the tools that I have to learn as a DevOps in the containerization platform? For that, you have to select this particular tile, Docker and Kubernetes for DevOps. Now, here are the courses what we have created for DevOps engineer. Docker deep dive, Kubernetes deep dive, Docker CI/CD, Kubernetes CI/CD, Helm charts, GitOps, and projects. These are the categories what we have created in such a way that you can learn the topic only what is needed for you. Other topics you can skip. Why? Because this is entire portal access, what we are given for each and every users. After completion of this particular course, you can plan for a certification like CKA and CKAD, that is Certified Kubernetes Administrator and Certified Kubernetes Application Developer. Happy learning.